Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Gareth here from tastycheats.com. Now, one of the reasons why Photoshop is so popular is for the visual effects that can be achieved. In Photoshop, there is a wide range of filters that can apply various effects to your photos and graphics at a click of a button. As you design in Photoshop, you may need to use these filters in order to satisfy your creative decisions to achieve a particular effect. In this tutorial, I'm going to discuss filters in Photoshop. I'll be showing you where to find them, how to use them, and demonstrate a few commonly used filters. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a better understanding of how Photoshop can apply various filters to your images. So to follow along with this video, you will need to open this document I have prepared especially for this tutorial. This document can be found in the Essential Practice folder in the Project folder. Now you can download this project folder for free. The download link is in the description. So with the project folder open, click Essential Practice, open the Filters folder, and open the Filters PSD. Then you should have something that looks like this. So what exactly are filters? Well, filters are effects that can be applied to your images at a click of a button. Photoshop comes with a variety of filters that you can experiment and explore with. These filters enable us to completely change the physical appearance of an image layer. When we think about applying a filter to an image, we will need to come up to the main menu at the top and click Filter. As you can see here, there are a wide range of filters to choose from, and we will be taking a look at some of these shortly. So in this document, we have two examples. On the left, we have a raster image layer, and on the right, we have a smart object layer. Later, we will learn how filters apply differently to these examples. So let's start with the raster image on the left. Now, before we perform any filter in Photoshop, we must first have the layer selected in the Layers panel. So I'm going to come over to the Layers panel and I'm going to select my bird raster layer. So with the layer selected, I'll come up to Filter and choose a filter to apply to the layer. So on this occasion, I'm going to select Filter Gallery. Now, when we click this, up will pop a Filter Gallery menu. This menu will present a wide range of creative filters that I can apply to my images. So this works by showing a preview of the image layer you're about to apply a filter to on the left, and over on the right we have a list of filter categories. Here we can toggle these down and choose from quite a range of creative filters. So as I begin to click on some of the filters to the right, the image preview on the left will change to preview the filter. Over on the far right we have the filter's values. It's here where we can toggle the properties of a particular filter and fine-tune it. So on this occasion, I'll come down into the Sketch category and choose the Stamp filter. I'll toggle the properties over on the right. I'll put the light-dark balance up to 41, the smoothness up to 7, and once I'm happy, I'll press OK. Upon click, we will now come back to the document and we can see the effect this has had. Easy. So I want to apply a different effect to this image. So I'll press Command Z to undo. I'll come back up to Filter. This time I'll scroll down and choose Blur. I'll come across to Gaussian Blur. Upon click, up will pop the blur options. And here I can toggle the radius of the blur like so. This will simply increase and decrease the blur effect. Once I'm happy, I'll click OK. So I'll press Command Z again to undo that. I'll come back up to Filter. I'll come down to Sharpen and select Sharpen More. This is a common filter. If you have a slightly blurry image, this can help to add more clarity. So I'll press Command Z again to undo that. I'll come back up to Filter. I'll come down to Pixelate, then come across and select Mosaic. Here I can toggle the cell size and make the image look more pixelated. Once I'm happy, I'll click OK. So here I have this pixelation filter applied to the image. In the previous episode, we learned how to apply color adjustments to raster image layers. In that video, we learned that applying an adjustment to a raster image layer has a destructive effect. Why? Because once the adjustment is applied, the image is physically changed and there is no going back, unless of course you undo. Now this is also true when using filters on a raster image layer. So I have just applied this pixelate filter to this image on a raster layer. Now if I save this document or progress with the work, I will no longer be able to come back to my original image. or apply a new filter to it. By applying the filter in this way, I have physically changed the image. Now, I recommend you are cautious when using filters in this way. Also, backup images or duplicate layers, so should you decide you are unhappy with the filter, you have the original image to start again with. Now, if I come over to the right, we have this Smart Object layer. So this time we are going to apply some filters to this. So in the Layers panel, I'll come and select the Bird Smart Object layer. I'll come up to Filter, and I'll begin by coming down to Filter Gallery and click to open the menu. On this occasion, I'll come down to Texture and select Stained Glass. Over on the right, I'll set the cell size to 7, the border thickness to 2, and the light intensity to 1, and click OK. And here we have the effect. Now, if we look over in the Layers panel, we will see something new. On the Smart Object layer, we now have Smart Filters. Now, Smart Filters are filters applied to Smart Object layers. Smart Filters have a non-destructive effect on an image. With the Smart Filter applied, we can see the familiar visibility toggle buttons on the filters themselves. So if I toggle the filter gallery and toggle the visibility of this, we can turn off the effect we just applied. So I'll bring that back. Now, if we want to edit the filter applied, I can simply come into the Layers panel and double click on the filter name. So I'll double click on the filter gallery and up will pop the filter gallery menu. So I'll change the cell size to 11 and click OK. So we can toggle a filter off and edit quite easily using the Smart Filter. So I'll go ahead and apply another filter. I'll come up to Filter, come down to Blur and select Gaussian Blur. With the pop-up menu, I'll type in a radius of 6 and click OK. So now we have two smart filters applied to my smart object. So now I have the flexibility to turn off a filter or tweak the filter further. So by applying a filter to a raster image layer, that will have a destructive effect. And by applying a filter to a smart object, that will have a non-destructive effect. This is another reason why you should get into the habit of using smart objects. As you create in Photoshop, you will find that using smart objects, you will have complete control over your workflow and will be able to easily change your visual design in future. So that is how to use filters in Photoshop. Now, there are lots more to be explored. In this video, I just covered a few to demonstrate how they work on a raster image layer and a smart object layer. Be sure to practice applying filters to both the raster image layer and the smart object layer to get to grips with how to use them and understand how they work. So over the past few episodes, we have been looking at how color adjustments, adjustment layers, and filters can apply color and image effects to our image layers. In Photoshop, we also have the ability to blend layers together. This opens up a new scope of creative possibilities. In the next video, we will be exploring blending modes in Photoshop. See you in the next video.